Well, you know what time it is? It's tomato time. Everybody in the Southern Hemisphere is about to go into that season where we get to enjoy growing those delicious little morsels of tomato goodness. So I've had to really try to keep on track because I'm getting so motivated by everybody talking about the different varieties that they are growing. However, I have already purchased all of the tomato varieties that I will personally be growing this season. So I really need to concentrate on just the ones that I currently have. So last season, I grew a total of 13 different varieties. Some were successful, some not so successful. I'm not growing the ones that I got yields from again this year. I'm going to try completely different varieties. However, there were some that I planted a little too late in the season, so I am going to give those another go. They include the Sun Golds, which I had no success with, and I did actually plant all of the 5 seeds that you get in this packet. I had some speckled Romas, which I think I got a couple maybe of those, but not enough to justify. I wanted these to make all of the passatas and tomato sauces with, so I definitely want to try those again. The tomato green Dr. Frost, this one says, this one didn't produce any fruit either for me last season, so we're going to give that another go. Then I purchased the pink Berkeley tie-dye. However, I was accidentally sent the pink bumblebee instead. So I am going to grow the pink bumblebee as well, but this didn't produce last year and neither did this one. So they're the ones that I'm repeating from last year. New varieties that I am trying is, instead of Romas, I'm going to try the San Mazzanos for my cooking tomatoes this year. I am going to try some yellow Romas. Then my new ones are going to be black cherries. Now, if you know the story from last year, I had some seeds that I had labeled black cherry and they turned out to be very much a red cherry. However, there was no love lost with that because those red cherries were probably the one that I used the most. I just love popping them in a salad. So easy to do, like the feta bake with all the cherry tomatoes around it. So I am going to plant those again this year, but from the seeds that I've saved from last year. Then I've also got a, excuse my pronunciation, Principe Borghese. Apparently these are great for sun-dried tomatoes. So they are a determinate variety. I would assume very similar to your Romas. And from our friend Tanya at Utility Jane, she grew these varieties last year, which was the Thai pink egg, the Jaune flame, and the Tasmanian chocolate. And she had fantastic success with this. In fact, the Tasmanian chocolate, she said, was better than the Black Russian. And I grew that last year. I didn't have heaps of success with it. However, you've got to remember that we were growing those in the veggie mix that we had purchased from the garden centre, which was literally like clay when we dug that out. It's actually quite funny because I've put what I dug out of the 4 garden beds into my backyard just to sort of level it out because it was quite undulating in certain areas. And we can't even get grass to grow in that soil. So the fact that we got any yield whatsoever from our tomatoes is actually quite a testament to how robust plants can be because they can defy all odds. I was giving obviously lots of fertilization, but it'll be really interesting to see this year with that really good compost and organic matter that we've got in our beds this time round to see the difference in the yield. I almost forgot, I've also got a Costaluto Fiorentino, which is the Italian tomato with all the little divots in it. I think they are absolutely stunning. I remember my grandfather growing those, so I can't wait. They are coming hopefully this coming week, but they will also go in the mix. So that's a total of 14 different varieties. I am also going to, I think, grow the yellow pears again. I really liked those also. And how am I going to fit in more than I had last season? Well, I'm going to jig things around a little bit this year. So last year I had climbing on the archways, just one different variety on either side. And on the other garden beds, I had the same variety, which was the red cherry, because I thought it was the black cherry and I thought I was really going to love those. So I had those on both sides of the archway on the other garden beds. So this year, instead of having the tomatoes on either side, I'm actually going to have all of the cucumbers on the north side and all of the tomatoes on the south side of the archways. Are they going to get enough light and be happy enough? I'm not sure. We'll soon find out. But I noticed that last year when I grew the national prickling cucumbers, the ones that were on the back side away from the sunlight didn't do anywhere near as well as the ones on the front side. So I'd rather give the cucumbers a little bit more light, because I know that the tomatoes still performed being on the south side of the archways. So instead of putting one cherry tomato variety, which is what I did last year, I'm going to put 5. Will they fit? I'm not sure, but I was thinking that worst comes to worst, I could always get another archway and attach it to the existing archway so that I'll have like a huge archway of cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes, obviously, that we will be having, I think are going to be such a beautiful mix of colours. Black cherries, I can't wait for those. The pink bumblebees, the orange sun golds, the red cherries, and then the yellow pears. So if you think about that combination of colours all coming over that archway, I just hope my vision comes to life. And then last year I had 7 different varieties in a zigzag pattern in the one garden bed. They were all indeterminates except for one Roma. This year we don't have the Romas, and the replacement of the San Manzanos, interestingly enough, are a indeterminate, whereas the Romas were a determinate. So I also had some Roma plants in the middle of some of the other garden beds, which I think I will do this year to be able to fit all the indeterminates into the one bed. So the ones that I have this year that I've identified as determinants are the yellow Roma and also the Thai pink egg. That should then be 7 left over for the alternates like I did last year. It is so exciting. I can't believe we've actually reached this point, but we are going to get these sowed now, and then we can put them in the garden hopefully very, very soon. While I sow those, I'm also going to sow the one eggplant, Lasada de Gandia, which was that gorgeous mottled pinky, purpley and white eggplant. I'm not a huge eggplant person, but I love a good eggplant parmigiana. Or parmesan. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I should know better being an Italian heritage, but I don't have my Italian grandparents to correct me anymore. So I would love to grow just the normal eggplants as well, but maybe these will be suffice. So hey, we'll give it a go, and then there's always next season. So there we go, all planted. I haven't planted the yellow pear or the red cherry just yet. I will wait until the Italian variety comes next week, and then I'll plant those 3 up with the eggplant. Happy germinating, Southern Hemisphere. So just a little update on my chilies that I have sown. Everything is going really well. I have had a little failure with a couple of them, so it's quite interesting that some of them really took off from the seeds that I had saved from last season, and then some have done 0 germinations. So I haven't had any success with the banana peppers or the red capsicums, which is quite interesting, but I've actually managed to overwinter those plants. Then I've added a couple to my collection. So because I had problems with the Sugar Rush peach, I purchased some Sugar Rush peach stripies. These are stunning. I'll put them up on the screen so that you can have a look at them in all their glory. Also some black jalapenos. These are apparently a little bit spicier than your standard jalapeno, so I'm incredibly excited about that. And then Scarlet's chili. Now this is a stunning variety. There's actually quite a few chilies like this with these variegated creams and purples and green leaves, and then just some stunning variety in the actual chilies themselves. So hopefully those will all germinate for me. I've put just 4 seeds of each of these in the cells, and we will see how they perform. Well, thank you so much for coming along with my summer 2026 tomato sowing season. Let me know which tomato varieties you're planting for the upcoming season. I can't wait to hear your suggestions. I did have to stop myself from getting the Uluru and the pink Brandywine. They do look beautiful. And there was also one called Midnight Sun. If you find that on Seeds of Plenty, I think you will find that that looks absolutely glorious. But as I said, space is not on our side here, so we've really just got to keep it to the few varieties that we already had purchased. Have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world. Thanks again, and we will see you in the next video. Bye. And just a quick little update on these seeds that I planted the other day. So we've got some lemon basil coming up, some cinnamon basil. The Thai basil's also come up, as has the purple basil. No holy basil, no lemon balm. Had trouble with that. I do think those might be dud seeds. And lots of the alyssums have come up. One little red amaranth in there, if you can see the red. No winter savoury, some summer savoury, however. The blue curled kale is doing well. And I've got an ivory kale poking its head up there. And nothing else, except I do have one blue butterfly pea. And apparently they're really hard to germinate, somebody was saying. So that's awesome. I did overwinter 2 of those, but they're not looking too happy. So I'm glad that that one is looking strong. And this is a complete side point, but because I'm going to transplant these, I just wanted to quickly show you, just in case you are new to gardening. So these lettuces were planted at the exact same time as these ones. These ones were direct seeded in here. Same variety. And then these ones have been in the nice warm environment in their little greenhouse. So just a point in case you want quicker germination and quicker growth. Being babied a little bit obviously helps, but I am going to now acclimatise these guys out into the wild. Whereas these ones, will they grow faster because they've been in this environment from day dot? We will soon find out. But for now, these ones are definitely much bigger.